Hey everybody, this is Zachary Levi.
Hey, this is Joshua Gomez, and you are listening to Chuck versus the Podcast.
Hi, my name is Graham Jones, but you can call me Gray. This is my show. It's about Chuck. It's filled with interviews, the latest news, crazy co-hosts, and spoilers that'll make your day. Oh, wait, I need to go back. I host these TV nights. They used to be pretty boring, but everything changed when I found NBC's new show, Chuck. Pretty soon, my TV night got pretty crowded. Guys I didn't even know were showing up the door. Big, important guys. Really scary, nasty, get killed for hosting them guys. Next thing I know, these super episodes are downloaded into my brain, which means every moment of my life, I'm thinking about Chuck. ChuckTV.net sent their top people to protect me. That's Mel and Liz. They're pretty zany. They co-host with me now as a cover. So now I must welcome you to Chuck versus the Podcast, the #1 TV podcast for NBC's Chuck. This is Gray, and I want to welcome you to Chuck versus the Podcast, episode 36 for Saturday, January 2nd, 2010. Mel and Liz can't be with me today because they're doing holiday things, but I do want to wish you a very happy new year, and it's going to be happy, especially because Chuck is coming back next week, and we're really excited about that. We're going to actually postpone part 3 of our editor series because I'm really excited to bring you the first of the video interviews that I taped in LA. I've been telling you about these for several months. There was a bit of an embargo on them because we were too far away from season 3. But now that season 3 is almost here, the embargo has been lifted and I can bring you these videos. They're very exciting. But the most exciting thing about today is that the interview that I'm actually going to bring for you is Joshua Gomez and Zachary Levi, who of course play Morgan Grimes and Chuck Bartowski on the show. You're going to love it. First, we're going to get to the news. Now, you've been hearing about Chuck Fest, and it's really exciting, and one of the most exciting things about it is going to be January 9th and 10th in Los Angeles, and a few lucky people are going to have the chance to actually compete to meet Zachary Levi and Joshua Gomez. Well, it's gotten a whole lot more exciting, and it's so exciting that I've got to actually read an email that was sent to me by Wendy Farrington, who is no stranger to the Chuck fans, but she is acting as the We Heart Chuck Public Relations Director and also the Chuck Fest Coordinator for Los Angeles. Well, she says, exciting news just went up today on WeHeartChuck.com. First, the stakes for winning the meet and greet have been raised because now the winners from the Wii Golf Tournament will be meeting not only Zachary Levi and Joshua Gomez, but Yvonne Strahovski, Adam Baldwin, Mark Christopher Lawrence, Sarah Lancaster, Vic Sahai, and Scott Krinsky. And even better than that, even more of the cast may be confirmed before the event, which means at one point it might be the entire cast that gets to meet the people who win. But there's more. Not only that, we've doubled the winner's circle to 8 lucky golfers, the top 5 finishing players, and 3 Wii golfers who will be chosen at random. That means even if you don't play that well, as long as you're one of the Wii golfers, you'll have a chance to meet the cast of the show, regardless of your Wii skills. Plus, the 6th and 7th place Wii golfers will win a Nintendo Wii console, providing your names are not among the 3 chosen for the meet and greet. All told, entrants have a 1 in 10 chance of walking away with a major prize. Well, what are the minor prizes? All Chuckfest participants who register for the Wii tournament will get a goodie bag worth $80, and it's full of Chuck swag. Plus, anyone who comes down Saturday, even if it's just to watch, can enter into the American Heart Association and NBC store raffles that we'll be running. Happy New Year all. Regards, Wendy Farrington. Well, thanks so much, Wendy, for sending that update. It is absolutely exciting. And another exciting thing for me personally is that if you're in Canada or if you're in Toronto, you might just get a chance to see me in the Toronto Star. Of course, the Toronto Star is one of the leading newspapers in Canada, and I was contacted by them recently, and they're actually going to be running a feature on the podcast and on my involvement in the Chuck fan campaign this last year.
It's set to come out January 3rd in the entertainment section. I hope it's going to be online as well. But if you have a chance to get the Sunday edition of the Toronto Star, please watch for me there. It's amazing and a great privilege because it's a way that we can further spread the word about Chuck. And of course, it's great timing that it's coming a week before the season 3 premiere. Now, speaking about being a week before the season premiere, I want to remind you that next week there are 3 episodes of Chuck running in 2 days. That's, of course, Sunday, January 10th for a 2-hour premiere, and Monday, January 11th for another 1-hour episode. I'm not going to tell you the times because I want you to check your local listings. There may be variations in the times depending on where you are. So I urge you to check your local listings, set your DVR, set a backup if you need to, and let's plan some great viewing parties for next week. If you're like me and you can't afford to go to Los Angeles for Chuck Fest, make sure that you have your own Chuck Fest wherever you are. Invite lots of your friends, even people who haven't seen Chuck before. I guarantee they're going to love the show. Now, next on our news, you may have read last week or listened to the podcast, and we told you that Mel did a 2009 year in review. If you haven't had a chance yet to check that out on chucktv.net, I urge you to do so because it's quite amazing when you sit back and look at 2009, all the things that happened for Chuck, for the podcast, and for chucktv.net. But you'll notice if you go to chuckpodcast.com today, you'll also see that I've posted a 2009 year in review that is just focused on the podcast. And I wanted to give you just some highlights because you're involved in making this an amazing, amazing year. First of all, it's no surprise probably to you that this is now 13 months straight that we are the #1 TV-themed podcast in the entire world thanks to your votes. And I do want to remind you that the votes have reset. They reset on the first day of every month. So if you haven't voted yet in January, please go ahead and do so. But also, we released an average of 2 podcasts per month. There were 24 total podcasts for the year. And in these 24 podcasts, we had a whopping 31 interviews. I have to read all the people that were interviewed. All of the regular cast, 3 directors, 4 writer-producers, 4 editors, and the composer have now appeared on the podcast, many more than once. On average, 15,000 people listen to the podcast each month, hailing from over 20 countries around the world. And as well, we hit a peak in the renewal campaign with 70,000 people listening to one podcast. That's pretty awesome. And as well, it caused a real spike in our bandwidth. And so we had to upgrade the server. There was a few hiccups there. And one of the results is that our server costs went through the roof. So we appealed for donations. We appealed for sponsorships. And I'm very, very happy to say that 50% of the running cost of the podcast was covered by our new sponsors, Movie Morons Podcast and SyrianJunkies.de. We're very, very thankful to our sponsors. And as well, 25% of the podcast was covered by you from donations from the fans. And that's awesome and greatly appreciated. I do want to mention that if you do a little math, that means that 1/4 of the costs did still come out of my pocket, which I'm happy to do, but I do want to ask if you'd consider, if you love the podcast, if you love Chuck, in 2010, please consider making a donation to help us continue this work, because we want to give you the best we can, and your donation certainly helps. And for the latest news, please go to chucktv.net and as well to chuckpodcast.com. There's often breaking news that comes on those sites. And if you want up-to-the-minute podcast updates, you can always follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/GrayJones. Now, I know that you've been waiting for something, and that's the main event. Right now, I'm very, very happy to bring you an interview that I had with Zachary Levi and Joshua Gomez September 30th, 2009. This is part of my LA trip a few months ago, and you're going to love what they have to say about Chuck Season 3.
Please note, minor spoiler warning. I do want to welcome both of you guys to Chuck versus the podcast. This is Zachary Levi and Joshua Gomez, and we want to hear about Chuck Season 3. What can you tell us so far, just generally speaking, about what your characters are doing this season?
As most of the people listening to the podcast would know, and by the way, thank you guys so much for all your support, getting us back into a third season to begin with. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Absolutely.
And thank you guys who make the podcast for keeping all that love going and keeping people informed and with us on this fun train that we like to call Chuck. At the end of Season 2, Chuck makes a decision to download the new Intersect 2.0, and is granted now these new flashes, which give him physical abilities that kind of come in and out. They're limited. They're fleeting, you know, which lead to great action and great comedy when they don't work, because it's not an exact science, and because it wasn't really meant for somebody like myself who's emotional. It's meant for somebody like Bryce Larkin, who's, you know, cold and cool and collected and the perfect spy. So it's a hit and miss learning process with this new Intersect, but we get to do a lot of fun stuff in it, like the Kung Fu that you saw on the end of Season 2, and you know, we'll do some more fighting in this season and other special physical powers as well, whether it's wielding a weapon of some kind or manipulating an object in some way. I don't want to say too much because I want it to be a surprise. Rubik's Cube, it's incredible.
Just solve it like it.
Incredible. That guy. I take on Bobby Fischer at chess. He
There's a lot of
he's
places.
a KGB agent.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff with that. And then other than that, you know, the kind of love, the relationship between Chuck and Sarah, Chara, whatever. I don't know. Some people, you say Chara, I say Chara. Yeah. That is, you know, that continues. Is, you know, it's always kind of the undertone between the two of us, but there's new love interests that come in for both of us. And so that's cool and exciting. And now Morgan may or may not, let's say, gets a new job. Okay. Still working in the same place, but possibly a different position. You know, whatever.
May or may not wear a yellow shirt.
May or may not wearing a yellow shirt. So yeah, so that's.
So Hawaii. So what happened in Hawaii?
I don't know what happened in Hawaii, buddy.
I don't know. That's what.
That's the thing. Oh, and then also, because I guess we can talk about it. You know, Chuck and Morgan, they finally get what they've been dreaming of for a long time. They become roomies. Roomies.
Yeah, and it is quite an apartment.
Yeah.
It is quite a.
But it's funny. It's kind of like Bosom Buddies meets Three's Company. We have to pretend that we're gay in order for the landlord to not kick us out, and so, but then we're also having to pretend to everyone else that we're women. It's a very fine line, but I think we pull it off.
Believe me,
I think we pull it off.
It's funny. It is some funny
comedy.
This guy in a dress and
yeah.
And then, but he's still a spy, and he's covering that up.
Yeah, and I have so much respect for Yvonne having to do action scenes in heels.
Yeah.
And a skirt.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
So Joshua, how do your Benihana skills play in?
They not too much. Apparently, he couldn't quite flip the shrimp, I believe.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah. So I guess it didn't. You know, it was a dream. It was fleeting, and he returns to the only place he's ever really known.
Yeah.
And that is indeed the Bymore and to his buddy's loving arms, so to speak.
Well, no, I mean,
Sure.
Well.
So yeah, no, yeah. So the Benihana chef right now is shelved for a new career path.
Yeah, but don't give up on that dream.
No.
There's a lot of Benihanas, you know.
Yeah, it was quite a dream to begin with. You know? I mean,
hibachi.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk it?
No, I know. Kind of came out.
Video game tester, maybe.
Right. Maybe worked at a comic book.
Whatever.
Storyboard artist.
What? Yeah, there you go. Shoot high.
Yeah. No, Benihana chef.
Now, Morgan in the spy world. Is there going to be any joining of those two?
You know, we get asked that a lot.
Yeah, we do. I hope. I'd love that. I mean, I think that shows, television shows, you know, they need to, everybody needs to keep growing and learning and discovering, you know, as characters. Otherwise it gets stale. And the plots can always use that in order to keep moving things along. And you can't move too fast, but you can't hold back too long either. So
it's fun for audiences to like just do the same discovery.
Yeah,
and stuff
exactly.
Like that or whatever.
So
I think it's always fun to watch you. Is that over these couple of seasons, it's like, I think that's what's so fun for audiences, what they like so much is that they discover it with you, like all the fun stuff, whether it be, you know. And that's what I think is going to be cool for season 3. If anybody worries about like Chuck knowing powers, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, because exactly.
You're kind of discovering it too with them, and
it's still awkward, and
it's
you
still
know,
Chuck
and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And all that jazz. That's good fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool. I think eventually, I'm sure at some point they'll have to address something. You know, I am your best friend.
Yeah.
We do live together.
Yeah. I'm just tired. I'm tired of lying to him all the time. You know? It would make it so much cooler and easier if I actually had a guy on the inside that was with me. So then, you know, especially with work stuff and whatever, it wasn't constantly having to be some like rigmarole, cattywampus. I'm on an install or whatever. You know, he's like covering for me and like my Alfred, you know, he's like, he's there with me, suiting me up. He's like, that bulletproof vest looks so good on you. You know, whatever. I don't know.
Your tea, sir.
Yeah.
You know, my best Michael Caine. Yeah.
Your tea.
Yeah.
And speaking about somebody being involved in the spy world, how is it working with Captain Awesome in the spy mission?
Oh, it's super fun. I mean, you know, obviously Ryan McPartlin, who plays Devin Woodcomb, a.k.a. Captain Awesome.
Yeah, don't you dare call him by his real name.
I know, right? He's got 3 names now.
I know.
Ryan, Devin, and Awesome.
Yeah.
It's tough. But he found out, you know, toward the end of last season, and now he's kind of been absorbed into that world a little bit more, and it's cool. You know, the more that other people, because what's interesting is that he ended up being the Chuck in essence, you know, like he's what Chuck was season 1, he ends up being now a little bit. And you see that freaking out and whatnot, whereas now it's kind of old hat for Chuck a little bit. He still gets nervous, obviously. He's still not like some, you know, crazy awesome spy, but he doesn't freak out when certain things happen anymore. And now you get to see that anew through the eyes of Captain Awesome, so it's fun. It's a fun little situation.
Mm-hmm. And we got to talk about guest stars. What's it like shooting with Kristen Krug, Brandon Routh?
Oh, awesome.
And Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, awesome. Everybody's been so cool. I mean, that's one of the really fun things about our show is that, you know, they really go for it. You know, they shoot for the stars, literally, when casting all of our guest stars. So we get to work with so many cool people.
We had Minnie back on. That was really
Minnie
cool.
Andy came back on and reprised her role of Karina, and that was really fun. Vinnie Jones, that was
that's right.
dope.
Yeah.
And we all got to work with him too.
Yeah,
that's one of the things about some of the guest stars is that sometimes they're only in the Buy More world, they're only in the spy world, you know? Like Michael Strahan, and you got to work with both NFL greats, and I didn't get to work with them at all. Right. Strahan and Jerome Bettis were both Buy More guest stars.
Right.
And then sometimes they're just always in the spy world. But
like Larroquette knows.
Larroquette. Yeah. Wow, dude, he was so great. Yeah,
I'm glad we both got to work with Bakula. He was one of my favorites.
Oh, dude, Scott was so good, man.
So awesome.
And Chevy too. Didn't you get to work with Chevy?
No, not really. I don't think he.
No.
No. We did a reading at the reading.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, that's been awesome.
Yeah.
I want to thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And in lieu of a picture, because I know you guys got to hurry, I'll just come on.
Yes.
Yeah, get in here.
Yeah.
We'll all wave together. You're the meet in the middle.
Great to finally meet you guys.
Yeah.
Get in here, right in the middle. We're gonna wave. No, right here. Stand right here and look at your camera.
Yeah.
Is it on? Is it still on?
It's on.
Well, then there you go.
It's on.
Thanks, everybody.
Listen.
This is the guy right here. So thank him.
Yeah.
And then we collectively thank you.
Thank yourself.
Thanks, exactly. Followed by your parents, and then the
Then from
government.
there you can just kind of
for freedom, in essence, you know. Right? Okay, that's enough. That's good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Cool.
Good to see you again.
Yeah.
Actually in person and not just live via satellite.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
We
the
did
CNN thing. That's right. Yeah.
And that was how the interview went down. It was a tremendous privilege to meet Zachary Levi and Joshua Gomez. They are just as kind and friendly in person as you'd imagine them to be. And we really, really appreciate them and all the people of Chuck supporting us in such a great way with these interviews. Well, we've got lots in the pipe. We've got many more interviews from my LA trip coming up in the next few weeks. And as well, we have part 3 of our editor series featuring Kevin Mock and lots more. So please make sure to check back with chuckpodcast.com and chucktv.net for the latest updates. I want to remind you to vote for us at Podcast Alley, and also you can give good comments on iTunes. And if you consider sending a donation, it's greatly appreciated. You can find out more about that at chuckpodcast.com. Please, as the new episodes of Chuck come in, we want to hear your questions. We want to hear your feedback. You can send feedback to mail@chuckpodcast.com. You can send even audio questions by email, and we'd be happy to put them on the podcast. So, until next week, we want to wish you a very happy new year, and thanks for watching, or thanks for listening. Bye-bye.